on the table, oops, sorry, I'm just getting the chat, so I'm sorry, I get distracted. But we're putting new Connecticut farmers at these tables to discuss land access. So currently, some of the places that we're sitting are, and we covered earlier, are the Working Lands Alliance, which is a chapter of American Farmland Trust, Farmland Access Working Group, which is like a subcommittee of that, and the Farmland Preservation Advisory Board, which Robert and Will and myself actually joined on Thursday, which is great. And all of these are names and acronyms and hard to sometimes figure out how they work together or fit. And that's something that we actually want to, I'll talk about that in a future slide, but we want to demystify it because that's part of our work to be not only farming, but also organizing. So we've had folks make testimony on behalf of land access, and coordinating policy listening sessions with legislators has been an important part of this as well. For the past couple of years, we've coordinated with the National Young Farmers Coalition for funding for, it says first, but we've done multiple uprooting racism trainings with Soulfire Farm, which is a really big part of the work, I think, that's like, because specifically the face of farming has been white for so long, and it's kind of on us. Well, it's on me as a white farmer, I'll speak for myself, to be able to access this incredible learning opportunity, but also like really dig into what that work looks like and how that impacts my farming, and my farming impacts what anti-racism looks like in our state. And so we're hoping to continue to host that. MC got into the racial equity toolkit that was named before, but that, you know, we can keep growing and doing better as an entire collective. Connecting farmers to schools and institutions, having Shannon Rader Ginsburg speak at our previous Hootenanny, and also continuing to dive in the past couple of years as to what alternative markets look like. I can talk a little bit more about that in a future slide when it comes to the survey that we did this past year. Yoko, could we go to the next slide, please? So all of those big buckets and the work that we've done in the past has been evolving. And we understand that we want to continue to focus on those 4 big buckets and actually kind of tailor our approach while adding in the emerging issue of labor protection for farmers and farm workers, because that has come up in the past couple of years as something like a regular issue that's getting named over and over again. Being able to protect people across the farm system is important, and we're specifically looking at ourselves as farmers and looking at farm labor as something that we need to kind of address as a policy issue so that we can move our entire collective forward. And thinking about how we can do that, how we can actually take these 4 buckets and narrow our focus is about connecting a little bit more and creating a little bit more people power. I think his name is Eric Holt Jimenez, is the leader of Just Food. And he's got this like great quote that I always talk about when I'm in spaces and using the word policy a little too much, because policy sometimes like it feels like, I don't know, when you eat something like really oily and it's like around your mouth and you're like, does this like, I gotta get this off and like be able to talk about this like a little bit more clearly. And so when I think of policy and the way he talks about it is that policy is changed through money and people power. And those are the 2 ways that you change it and the 2 ways that you do it. And you have to determine like which way you can move when. And for us as a group, it's always going to be people power as farmers. And so how do we get your voices into this? How do we grow this energy to shape policy that's in all 5 of these spaces of health insurance for farmers, anti-racism work, land access, access to markets for beginning farmers, and labor protections for farmers and farm workers? Because our voice is loud. What we want is could change the entire system. But how do we pivot and actually make sure that we're having our voice and our focus land with legislators and using our energy really effectively to make change? So, namely, I think that we could do better. At NCTFA, we've got, as I named before, a bunch of us sitting on different boards and kind of speaking for NCTFA, but I think we need a little bit more of a mechanism for talking about how we do that work, how we sit on boards and talk about land preservation, land access, healthcare, whatever it may be, having a little bit more of a collective voice to the table so that when we're in those spaces, we're really speaking for NCTFA. So that comes with a NCTFA policy group. I'd be very excited, and I know MC wants to put out a little poll to figure out if anybody would be interested in that, and kind of demystify what this policy work that NCTFA is doing is. But also, again, really sharpen the edge of like where we want to take it moving forward. I sit in these spaces and I could really use some guidance sometimes about like where we want to move. And, you know, I could definitely be saltier at those tables if I was confident in where you guys wanted me to go. And getting other folks onto boards and commissions and shaping policy moving forward is one of our goals. And we'd also like to create a policy page on our new website that Yoko has created that's launching. We'd love to have a policy page that does this work for us too. So we can keep our membership updated and also have like a reflexive submission area where you can be like, all of this is jargon. What is this acronym? And just have like a really great conversation that's ever evolving around policy in the state so that we can shape the future together. Yoko, could I have the next slide? All right. So you 26 folks, maybe some of you on the call, answered our 2020 survey, and I'll blast.
Can I pause you for 1 second, Ellie?
Yeah.
I just want to note that I sent out the poll about whether people would be interested in that kind of policy position for our website, and almost everyone has voted. Please vote now if you haven't yet. And I just want to share the results, because it seems, again, that we have a unanimous yes. Folks do want to see that type of policy position more clearly outlined on our website, there to support you and Will and Robert in your many different types of advocacy on different boards, etc. And hopefully some folks would also be interested in joining a policy committee to write up those positions. I'll send out an opportunity for folks to express interest in joining that type of committee as a follow-up to this when I write a follow-up email. So thanks, Ellie.
Thanks, MC, and bless you, 19% who wants to join. I hope we can make that number bigger and get more voices to the table. And to those of you who answered our 2020 survey, thank you. It's been a freaking hard year, and just being on the listserv has helped me feel more connected. And the survey really identified some of the folks that were kind of who was answering and what was going on for them. So really quickly, we had a how you identify question that you can see here broken out. We've got a majority of farmer owners and operators in our group, with the second largest group being farm workers. And what we're farming is predominantly, it looks like more like about half of us are doing vegetables, but actually MC pointed out that folks picked multiple categories. There was like a multiple choice. So we all do a little veg, but there's like a really cool diversity of what's being grown around our state by new Connecticut farmers. Next slide, please. So other takeaways. Everyone was adapting, moving, and shaking. Changing distribution methods was huge. Increased focus on contactless pickups and online sales. You guys killed it. Like, oh my God, the fact that all of this like amazing tech was like, everybody was like just learning and adapting and doing and thinking later. You were growing your business and your farm first. And then like, I mean, I hope all of you like have had some whatever we're calling it, but definitely some self-care. And then a lot of positive outcomes when it comes to increased demand. So we're hoping that this will translate into some changes in consumer spending in the state over the long term, fingers crossed. And constant change and adjusting to new protocols is stressful, labor intensive, and costly. So thank you for being really honest with us in your answers, especially in the write-ins. It was, yeah, just being that vulnerable through a survey to us was like really beautiful. And we hope to do more event sessions to collect your input. Yoko, next slide, please, if you can. Thank you. Some other takeaways. People are interested in tool and equipment sharing, but it was pretty unclear what tools people wanted to share. Maybe the Pictionary round of our trivia will help us, has helped us to get clear on. And then there was, sorry, there's a lot of notes about that, but basically we want to have more discussions to build it out and think about what not only shared power in policy looks like, but shared power in being able to democratize tool use. And you know, I think that's just going to be like a really fun place to take our future collaborations. So I think that's it from me. If that's my last slide, Yoko. Yes, it is.
I can take this slide. So after all of this presentation about National Young Farmers Coalition policy and NCTFA policy and all our events, past and future, I hope that you're thinking to yourself, damn, how can I get more involved with this incredible organization? And the good news is that there's lots of different ways. All of our steering committee meetings, which are on the first Monday evening of each month, are open to members. I think I, as coordinator, have not been doing a super great job making that really clear. A few folks joined us at our last month's meeting, but I would love to see some other people at this Monday's meeting and at the meetings to come. We also are hoping to host some farm tours and event sessions over the spring and summer. So if that seems like something you'd be interested in, either like a virtual farm tour video, or if it starts feeling safe, eventually in-person farm tours with masks, please get in touch. We would love to hear from you. You can definitely join our policy subcommittee, or if you would like, I think our only other existing subcommittee is the party planning committee, which does things such as plan the Hootenanny and make the trivia. So if that seems really exciting to you, you could join that subcommittee. The sticker survey is, I think, a relic from when we used the slideshow last year, so no longer relevant. But if you would like to give us any other type of input, we are definitely open to hear it in surveys or just in emails or any other way you like. So please get more involved, become a National Young Farmers Coalition member if the policy pillars that I outlined before felt meaningful to you. And I think that is it for the annual report. Steering committee members, have we missed anything? Is there anything we wanted to make sure we mentioned that we didn't? All right, with that, I will pass it on to Steph for trivia round 3.
Yes, the third and final round. Warning, this one has some numbers and I think a little bit of math in it.